defied drought, regulatory uncertainty, and high inflation to meet record demand for renewable fuels at home and abroad. Now, I think you know how proud I am to be the governor of America's #1 ethanol and bioproducing state. It's something I highlight, brag about, every chance I get, but I think actions speak louder than words. And it doesn't get much louder than the priorities that we've enacted to support our farm families, enhance market opportunities, and reinforce the diversity of our agricultural industry. And that starts, of course, with our landmark biofuels bill, which made Iowa the first state in the nation to enact an E15 standard, double the biodiesel production tax credit, and lead to the largest expansion of biofuels in our history, all while inspiring other states like Nebraska to follow our lead. And it absolutely never would have happened without our close partnership with the Iowa RFA. And I can tell you, I want to be sure and let you know how much and how grateful we are for that partnership and the continued partnership. I'm also proud to be leading the fight for year-round ethanol sales. I was pleased to see that the EPA sent its proposed rule to OMB, but as you know, the job's not done. We won't let up until we make the right decision for producers and consumers alike. The progress that we've made on this issue shows how important it is to stand up to the Biden administration, which has so often failed to deliver for the biofuels industry. While I was encouraged again to see the guidance from the Treasury Department that would allow ethanol and biodiesel to be part of aviation's sustainable fuel solution, as you know, and as I've indicated, we still must continue to hold the administration to its promises. Together with our congressional delegation, and I want to just commend them as well. They are fighting day in and day out, and let's give them a round of applause for all that they have done to hold accountable against some pretty tough challenges. And while we maintain and advance our competitive edge in the global marketplace, we must also secure our farmland here at home. As you know, China continues to grow more aggressive in buying American land. Fortunately, I'm proud to say that Iowa already has some of the strongest laws in the country on foreign ownership of land. In fact, we've seen other states look to us as a model for their own policies. But as China's threat adapts, our laws should too. We absolutely cannot let foreign governments undermine the agricultural dominance our farmers have worked so hard to build. To that end, we've been working with Secretary of Ag Nag and AG Bird. Together, we've designed a bill to further protect our farmland from foreign interest. It will enhance reporting and enforcement, increase penalties, and provide transparency, to Iowans on what land is currently under foreign ownership. With this bill, Iowa will continue to lead the nation and keep American soil in American hands. It's equally important as we look beyond Iowa's border for increasing market access overseas for our homegrown commodities. It's vital to the future of agriculture, renewable fuels, and other industries our state depends on. And that's why I'm convening a diverse group of industry professionals to help inform me on matters that are related to trade, export promotion, and market access to increase our competitiveness in the global marketplace. I'm excited to continue using my position as governor to raise Iowa's profile around the world. While agriculture and renewable fuels remain the foundation of our state's prosperity, our economic diversity is also a key asset. To build on this strength, we've worked hard to make our tax code more competitive and let Iowans keep more of their hard-earned money. When I took office in 2018, Iowa's income tax rate was the sixth highest in the nation at 8.98%. It was clear that we needed to make a change, and that's exactly what we did. Our family's most recent our most recent tax reform package provided farm families new options for tax relief when they rent or sell their land upon retirement, while establishing a flat 3.9% income tax rate by 2026. But today it's clear, I think, that we can go further and we can go faster. So this week in the condition of the state, I proposed that that the legislature reduce the rate to 3.65% effective this year, retroactive back to January 1. And the following year in 2025, the rate would again fall to a flat 3.5%. The bill represents a total savings of almost $3.8 billion for taxpayers over the next 5 years, and it gets there by cutting taxes for every Iowan who pays for them. So this past Tuesday, I delivered my seventh condition of the state address, and it's hard to believe it's been seven, but I was proud to report once again that the condition of our state is strong and that Iowa is on the rise as the world truly descends on our state over the next week. What they're going to see is one of the most livable, most affordable states in the country, a state that's number one for retirement and number one for young professional home ownership. They're going to see what it's like to live in a state that saves more than it spends, cuts taxes, and rewards economic growth and innovation, that orients its educational system to students, parents, and teachers, where life is protected, family comes first, and community runs deep. They're going to experience Iowa nice and remarkable people at every turn. And there's no greater confirmation of this than the incredible Iowans who make up our state's unmatched renewable fuels industry. Thank you again for all that you do for our state, for our communities, for our economy. And I can't wait to see how much further that we can go and grow together. So thank you very much. God bless you. Thanks for all you do. We're okay? Thank you. So the experience of Iowa's renewable fuels industry in Washington certainly holds a clear lesson that leadership matters. And that's why I'm so pleased to introduce one of the most effective leaders I've ever seen, a close friend, and he was the first candidate to check all boxes for the Biofuels Vision 2024. And that leader is Governor Ron DeSantis. We've had the opportunity to travel every corner of this state together, and I can tell you he's the real deal. And if you like what we're doing in Iowa, you're going to love what Ron will do for this country. Ron will fight for you and he'll get things done in Washington, D.C. And all you have to do is to look to his record in Florida. He has followed through on 100% of the promises he made to the people of Florida. And that's exactly what we need right now. Someone who's focused, disciplined, and principled, someone who will on day one get things done. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Governor Ron DeSantis.
Good morning. Great to be with you all. Probably a little rare. Us Floridians usually don't go north in January. It's usually half the Midwest coming down to Florida, and I can tell you, I think it's about 75 degrees in Bonita Springs and Naples right now. And just some of the people that I've met along the way here in Iowa have already decamped down there and are going to enjoy the next few months in some good weather. But it's great to be here, and I'm proud to have been able to do an all 99 county full Grassley tour throughout the course of this campaign. And part of it is I actually get criticized for this. They say, "Oh, well, you're putting too much time in," because it takes time. I mean, it's a big state land wise. You got long drives. It's not something that just happens. And we did bona fide events. It's not like we're just stopping to get gas. We're going, we're talking with people, we're doing the whole 9 yards. And sometimes people say, "Well, you're doing that." But I'll tell you this, having done that, I think you come out better. I think you come out better as a dad, as a husband, as a governor, as a presidential candidate, and you will be a better president having gone and actually spoken with people on the ground, learned about the issues in their communities, answered their questions, and then think about how you would be able to do things to make things better going forward as president of the United States. So it's been a great experience to be able to do that. We've got a lot of problems in this country, but what I've been able to see here in Iowa is I've seen people that are hardworking, God-fearing, patriotic folks, and that represents the backbone of this country, and that's the type of values that we need to turn this country around. So as part of those travels, we've been able to go and meet with folks in all facets of the agriculture industry, including the biofuels industry. And I've been able to learn a lot about the critical role that that plays in small communities, bigger communities, how it impacts the economy, jobs, and then, of course, overall thinking from the perspective of somebody nationally that believes that Americans should be producing its own energy. I want American jobs. I want American produced energy. I don't want to go hat in hand to Saudi Arabia and beg for energy. I don't want to have to rely on Venezuela. So we have an ability here in the United States to do an all of the above strategy, including biofuels. And so I've learned what are the challenges that are facing, what could be helpful. And I'm fortunate to have the support of Governor Kim Reynolds, who's done a fantastic job here in Iowa and is one of the best governors we have in America. And I know this, as issues come up, not just with biofuels, but agriculture generally, Governor Reynolds will be somebody that I'll be relying on for guidance as things happen. So we've been able to go talk with a lot of people, what could be helpful to be able to take the industry to the next level. And I have checked all the boxes that they were looking for. But things like E15 being year round. Why do you have to stop doing that, once you hit a perspective on the calendar? So that's something that I'm supportive of. I think it will be helpful for folks here in the Midwest. It also gives people more choices in terms of the fuel that they use. But then you also look, there's possibilities of doing much higher blends, and there should be a waiver. Let people do that if they want to do that. I know they actually do it some places. You could develop more of a market that way. So we'll be willing to do that and really lean in on those issues. We also, just in terms of agriculture writ large, we have an issue in this country of government and bureaucracy getting involved in ways that are undermining the ability for farmers to do their jobs. And we even have other states that are impacting the ability of people to do their jobs in places like Iowa. So, for example, this Proposition 12 out of California basically now is governed by just one state's whims, but particularly California's whims. I mean, if you were going to do one state and it was like Iowa or Florida, maybe you could get away with that. But do we really want to live under? People are fleeing California because of the bad policies. So we're going to address that, because I think the Prop 12, how it's impacted pork producers, that's one issue that's important. But I think that model is something that they would likely use much longer, and I think it'd be a big, big problem. So you can count on me to do that. Also, you have these agencies like the EPA coming on people's farms saying that there's a puddle and that's waters of the U.S. And I know the Supreme Court curtailed that, but the Biden administration wants to go and they're going to keep trying to do and just keep trying to exercise more jurisdiction. We're going to rein in the bureaucracy when I'm president, because I think it's out of control. It's not something that's responsive to the American people and even the results of elections. You have folks that are unelected, unaccountable, and they have an agenda, and they're pursuing that agenda. And that is not something that is good for our economy as a whole, and it's certainly not something that's good for the agriculture industry. The other thing that I think is a threat is this whole ESG movement, environment, social governance. And they basically say that it's about climate change, and they have different hobby horses that they want to organize the economy around. So Wall Street banks, asset managers, other major institutions kind of putting their thumb on the scale and using their economic power to be able to change behavior throughout society effectively. That ESG, yes, they target energy, they target other things. But one of the things that they really blame and target for things like global warming is agriculture. And they have their heart set on trying to really upend how farmers do their jobs. Taken to its conclusion, it will lead to a farm crisis in this country. They don't know how any of this stuff works. They have an ideological agenda that they're trying to impose. Now, in Florida, we've seen this threat for what it is. We've kneecapped ESG in the state of Florida. So we do not allow ESG in our pension funds. We do not allow social credit scores. They're not allowed to do ESG criteria when they're determining your credit worthiness. They're not allowed to use ESG criteria when they're rating state and municipal bonds. And so that's been a big pushback against it. You now see it starting to wane. Even BlackRock had to lay off some of their ESG people there. But this is definitely something that the Biden administration's pursuing. And we need to come in and we need to just nix that once and for all. First of all, they're pursuing things that I think are not healthy for our society, for our country, and for jobs. But even more than that, it's not good for this country to have the economy be politicized to where companies are taking positions on this or that. They're pursuing different types of social agenda. That just doesn't work in terms of if you really want a strong economy where you're going to be able to grow and be strong and be vibrant. So you can count on me to nix this whole idea of ESG. We're not going down the road where all that stuff is going to factor in to your ability to get a loan or to just do business as we've always been able to do throughout the history of this country. We also need to go and look at just see where is our economy going? What's the fiscal posture of this country? In Florida, we've shown, people will show the national debt clock. I think it's in New York City, always going up. So we're now $34+ trillion in debt. And I've asked, can they do a debt clock for the state of Florida? Because if you did, it would be counting down, not up, because we're paying off debt at a record rate. Just since I've been governor, we've paid off 25% of our state's debt while cutting taxes in a big way and while making key investments in infrastructure, in some of our waterways, because we have great fishing, our schools, school choice, teacher pay, all this stuff. So we've shown that you can do it and you can do it right. Washington has done it in the total opposite way, where this debt keeps mounting. The inflation that we've experienced is largely as a result of federal government borrowing, spending, and printing so much money. And so they don't necessarily face the repercussions in DC. You're paying more for everything that's going on. So we need a change in direction in that. But you got to have a president that's going to be willing to lean in and push back against the amount of money that they're spending in Washington without any type of accountability. And that's why, I'm a big believer that you need structural reform in Washington, because the incentives are what they are, and they're likely going to continue to produce the same thing. That's why I'm a supporter of term limits for members of Congress. That's why I'm a supporter of a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. I've got to balance the budget in Florida. Iowa has to balance its budget. Why does Washington get a pass? I'm supportive of a line item veto for the president, so you can veto individual spending items and get the budget back in good shape. So these are all things that we're going to pursue working with the states when we get to Washington. So it's an honor to be here. I want to thank everybody I know many of you I've been able to meet along the way. I've taken a number of different tours of farms, of ethanol plants, of things that really are important to these communities. And I understand that in a firsthand way. And it'll be something that I'll be able to carry with me as we go forward into the next administration. I know it's going to be cold on Monday. I was here last week, and I was in different parts of Iowa when it was like 25, 28, 30 degrees. And I'm just like, look, I'm a Floridian. I usually don't handle. I can handle this. This is no problem. 28 degrees, especially with not being windy. Yeah, bring it on. No problem. As soon as I started saying that, they started producing the weather report for what it was going to look like this weekend and in the Iowa caucus night. And I haven't ever experienced negative 15 degrees in my life. So I actually had to go back to Florida at the beginning of the week to give the state of the state address, just like Governor Reynolds had to do here. And when I flew back, and I actually do have a winter coat, believe it or not, to go over the suit. It's pretty nice. and I left the winter coat in Tallahassee. So they're now doing an operation to be able to get that winter coat up. We've also gone, I've got the scarves, I've got different things to be able to cover up, because they tell me it's like, you can go and, like, if it's like 20 degrees, you may be able to just hack that being out there. But once it gets to be negative, and with the wind chill, like, just your exposed skin, it really, really starts to do. So we're going to be loaded for that. I hope people turn out in big numbers. I know it's not easy. I'm asking for your support on caucus night. We have an opportunity to take this country in a very positive direction. I'm a guy, I'm running on your issues and your family's issues and this country's issues. I'm not running for any other reason. I see we have a job to do. I have a record of delivering on 100% of my promises in Florida, producing big results. I have a history, of defeating a lot of the people that have caused a lot of these problems throughout our country on issue after issue, and putting up big wins. And that'll be my sole focus as the next president of the United States. Ultimately, the future of the country is in our hands. We can complain about things that are happening, but decline is a choice, and we have an opportunity to choose a better path. When our founders created the Constitution in Philadelphia, Benjamin Franklin left that convention after they had created the Constitution. He was asked, "Did you give us a republic or a monarchy?" And his answer was, "A republic if you can keep it." You can have the best Declaration of Independence in the world. You can have the best Constitution in the world. These things don't run on autopilot. They require every generation of Americans to step up and defend freedom when it's at risk. Now is the time to step up. As the nominee, I'll get the job done across the board electorally. As a leader, I'll be someone that you can be proud of. And as the president, I will get the job done, and I will not let you down. Thank you all. God bless you. Appreciate you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless y'all. God bless the state of Iowa.